Kids, welcome. Today, reading review. It's test 65E. Let's do a quick lesson review. Here's the protocol for today. Our lesson, probably about 10-15 minutes. Just a quick reminder, going over some stuff. I'll show you. We'll flip back and forth between a practice test. Then we're off and running using the multi-timer. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Reading lesson, I'm not going to go over the avocado technique since we've gone over it so many times already. So the avocado technique says basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a mystery preview. You always start with your questions. So look at your questions. From your questions, what we want to do is just basically find the mystery questions and then underline some stuff in the questions to kind of get a general idea about what the passage is about. As you go through all of your mystery questions, you're going to see that you're underlining keywords that are really specific, and those specific words are nouns mostly, but there are some weird verbs. Okay, so with nouns and verbs, you should be able to link them together to kind of tell a story. It's just a general overview of what's going on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look and do a mystery preview and then a mind map. Once we do that, we already know what the passage is about. We move on to step number 3, and that's just to throw down a fast genius map, and that's trying to look for the words that we said were mystery keywords from the questions. All right, so we're going to call that a bump. You're going to go ahead and add to your understanding of the mind map by simply looking at your topic sentences and then keep an eye open for those mystery keywords. All right, then finally, step number 4 is to go out of order. Keep in mind that when we go in order, 1 through 10, 11 through 20, and so forth, you're going to run into a question that's called a roadblock. And a roadblock question could be a mystery keyword that we didn't find, or it could be one of those crazy questions, and we're going to talk about this. I call them radioactive problems. Basically, you get 1 point for answering 4 questions. The author mentioned all of the following except, which happened first in the passage. You know, the author uses the chronological, so what you have to do is sub-genius map those answer choices and find them as we go through the passage. It's kind of a roadblocky type of a question. And once again, remember, a tough roadblock question is a question for sure. If you didn't find your keyword, we're going to spend time finger scanning, and at that point, we don't have time. All right, so that's the process. Tools that we're going to use are, 1, it's a topic sentences. So remember, if you get a question and the question is like super long, like a line reference question, yes, go to lines 30 to 34. All right, well, in those 4 lines of text or 5 lines of text, there's going to be multiple nouns and verbs, and you have to do something in linguistics called coding. It's basically taking that long sentence and then rewording it into a shorter version that makes sense to you so you understand it. Normal kids will just read the sentence multiple times and code certain segments together. So for example, if there's 4 lines, you would read and code it down to 3 lines, and then you'd read it again and code it down to 2.5, and then read it again and code it to 2, to 1.5, to finally you put it in your own words with a simple noun and a verb. Okay, but you see that potentially can be very time consuming, and sometimes you're not even able to get it down into a short version. Okay, so what you can do here is you can simply say, all right, well, if the trap on the test is to give me too many nouns and verbs, and usually what they'll do is they'll give you that stuff in the middle here, which we call our details. What you can do is you can just simply look at the topic sentence, because when you throw your genius map down, kids, you already know that you're looking for 1 noun and 1 verb, and that 1 noun and 1 verb matches the 1 noun and 1 verb from the previous paragraph, which matches the paragraph down there. All right, so here is our noun and verb, which of course matches the noun and verb from the topic sentence above, right? But you see how it's just 1 noun and 1 verb, and then that 1 noun and 1 verb will match in your topic sentence below, all right? All of this stuff, I'll switch up the color, all of this stuff in the details, and let's say that this detail is like 2 lines long or 2.5 lines long, multiple nouns and multiple verbs. Well, that is there to support the topic sentence, which is 1. Are you with me? So when you look at your answer choice, you're going to see that your answer choice, if the answer choices are really long, you can sub-genius map the answer choice by simply underlining the first thing in the answer choice, A, right, B, C, and or sometimes the first word is not a noun, so you got to skip a little bit later. All right. Subgenus mapping here means you look at your answer choices and you basically just reduce your answer choices. All right. I like to underline them. You're going to see this concept repeated over in the science as well. And in the English grammar, it's yes, yes, no, no. All right. Keep, keep, delete, delete. All right. Subgenus map with that. Reduce. All right. Reduce your choices down the number of words that are in the answer choices. All right. So you can see why topic sentences are important, because there's less coding to do. All right. So if you code off of the topic sentence, which is one noun and one verb, and then you look at your answer choices, you can code off of that one noun and one verb, and you can kind of reduce some of the stuff because it's not relevant to what's going on in there. All right. So here we just talked about topic sentences, why they're important, and then also we did introduce and jumped out of line here, talked about subgenus mapping. Kids, remember, subgenus mapping is only done in the answer choices, and when we look at our answer choices, it's usually the first noun, and sometimes it's the first thing. So it just depends on the question. It could be the first noun, or it could be the first thing in the question. Do you know what I mean? So it could be like, you know, this question here talks about, you know, description, a fact, you know, a off-topic detail. It could be, you know, a result. Okay, so just underline the first thing in the answer choices, and then go back and then look in the area, and then look back at your topic sentences here. So subgenus map the answers, look back at the detail, and then look at the topic sentence. So that's kind of the process that I use on virtually all of my questions. All right, so there we have it, the tools. We're talking about two of them so far. Topic sentences and why they're important, and then subgenus mapping is basically reducing those answer choices. Now you're going to see that the answer choices that are really long, like 2 lines of text, subgenus mapping on virtually every one of those. If you get a long answer choice, subgenus map. Okay. Finally, we'll talk about the good stinky rule. So good stinky rule not only is done on your topic sentences here to find the big picture, but also can be used in the answers as well. So for example, if you looked at this question here and you read these answer choices, and answer choice A seems positive and answer choice B seems negative because there's vocabulary that suggests positive or negative, then what you do is when you looked in here, you just look for vocabulary here and is it positive or negative, and then you can start crossing some stuff out. I try the good stinky rule on virtually every single one of these questions. I don't use it all the time, but I do try it, okay? Sometimes if you try it, you'll be able to knock out, even if it's just one answer choice. So it could be one answer choice in one question or something like that, but just try it. Good stinky rule is basically the tone. All you want to do is just think of words that are positive or negative and then match it into the sentence that you're rewording. Once again, the big picture for really what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to reword what the author is saying into the right answer. And so obviously if the author says something that they don't really like about this particular paragraph, then that has to be reflected in the answer choices. All right, tone. All right, so you have a good stinky rule on that one. All right, so now we talk about pirate flags. A pirate flag tells you, get the heck out of here because something creepy is going on. For us, the simplest version of a pirate flag, now you know why I call it a pirate flag. Pirate flag tells you, hello, answer right here. So if you see these words, I am guaranteeing about 80% of the time when you find a pirate flag, they're going to ask one of those questions about that area. All right. If they give you a pirate flag like but, yet, however, although, those are pirate flags that do like a U-turn. They say something and then they go, this is what I think, but that's not really how it is, even though I think that. All right. I really like this, but it's too expensive. So positive to negative. It's a U-turn, but yet, however, although. Some other words that you might run into, like nevertheless, conversely, on the other hand. These are pirate flags that do a U-turn. That's a great place for ACT to ask you a question. Hello, answer right here. 2, pirate flags we went over this week with some kids, and one kid looked at me today and went, before? Is that a pirate flag? First? In conclusion? Moreover? Since? Those are pirate flags because they're going to say something crazy in a long, complicated sentence with lots of nouns and lots of verbs, and then they're going to go, for example. So now that long, complicated sentence is transcending into some type of visual thing that most people will understand, because the reason they're giving you an example is because probably you didn't understand what the heck they said. So when you see the word for example, you know right away that they're trying to clarify exactly what it is. Does that make sense? Once again, that answer is going to be right there. All right? Because they said something crazy, long sentence, complicated vocabulary, and weird subject matter. All right? So that's the deal with pirate flags. Think of it that way. If you run into these pirate flags, circle them. I usually put like a D around them. Quick. Boom. So it looks like a little flag on there. And then when you're looking for words that you can't find, just glance and see where you got your little letter D's for your pirate flags. And chances are they're going to be kind of around. Okay? So that's how you'll use pirate flags. And once again, you'll be able to tell if it's positive or negative, flipping, going in the same direction, or it's going opposite. All right, so that's a little bit about our pirate flags. All right, so how are we going to use pirate flags? You're going to use pirate flags all the time today. All right, so what I'd like you to do is when you start your passage, the first thing we'll do is we'll open up to passage number 2, and I want you to do the bear claw scratch. Just take your fingers like this, like you're going to scratch, and just drag your fingers down the page. And it should literally take you about 10 seconds per column, so that gives you like 20 seconds. Just look in there. And here's a tip for you when you're looking. Most of the pirate flags that you see that are going to be valuable are going to be capitalized letters in the second sentence of a topic sentence. All right? So if the topic sentence is like 2 lines long or 3 lines long, they'll give you a period, and then they'll start with a pirate flag. However, or but, that's the most common way to see it. So just be thinking, the ones that are probably going to be really important are going to be the ones that will say the topic sentence, and then they'll flip it and capitalize that word. You'll be able to see it right away. The pirate flag's going to be capitalized. Those are the ones that you'll see right away. Then, in the back of your mind, the number one thing that you should just get your eyes trained for seeing that's not capitalized is a 3-letter word, the word but. It's by far the most important one. So when you're looking, be thinking but. All right? So those are 2 things there. If you ask me, all right, hey, Prof, what's the next most common one? Probably however. All right? So, but by far, get your eyes looking for that word. So however you interpret that, just remember you're looking for the word, but it's all over the place. All right? You're going to scratch your fingers down the passage just before you do your mystery preview. And then I talked to some kids today. What they said is what they did is they went into their questions, they did their preview, and as they're looking in the topic sentences, they're keeping an eye out for pirate flags. And one kid even did the exact same thing without me even suggesting it. So do your mystery preview, look at your topic sentence, and then just scratch down right there. And that may be, if you do that, you might not need to do the pre-scratch because you're not looking for all of them. So that's something that maybe you want to try, and we can play around with this next week just based upon the feedback today. If you want to try that instead of just scratching, you could go mystery preview, go to your Genius map, read the topic sentence, and then do your noun and verb, and then scratch the rest of the paragraph. Read your topic sentence, noun and verb, think about how that's related to your question, scratch the rest of the paragraph, look for your pirate flags, just put a quick D around it. Read topic sentence, noun, verb, scratch the rest, D around all of your pirate flags, okay? So that's another option for you to try. If you're having trouble identifying pirate flags, try that, all right, as opposed to doing the scratch. Some kids said, oh, I can't find very many of them when I just think pirate flags the whole time. It really depends on the student. Some kids love the bear cross scratch for the double columns, and some kids want to just scratch a little bit, all right? Topic, sentence, scratch, topic, sentence, scratch, topic, sentence, scratch, all right? Don't forget, you're looking for your mystery keywords as well as you're scratching, as you're looking in your topic sentence, because we want to try and bump into mystery keywords. All right, so that's what we'll do with that. All right, finally, the last thing in the lesson before we get started for today is pruning. So pruning is something that we're going to do in the grammar. All right, so pruning entails mummy wedges, level 1, mummy wedges, level 2, the origin of the mummy wedges. It also entails abandoned boxcar, dependent clauses. It also entails Mr. Chung, double commas, double dashes, and parentheses. And it also applies to the comma staircase, where you're going to have an independent clause and then on the tail end, dependent, 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 dependent. Whatever you do, if you haven't gotten to that particular portion of the grammar yet, just think, you're trying to reduce, in pruning, you're trying to reduce the sentence to its essence. And whatever is in the sentence, I'll tell you right now, it's the independent clause, and an independent clause will always have to have a noun plus a verb. Anything else in there is junk, and we can prune that out. All right? Sometimes when you look at your topic sentence, you'll get distracted because the topic sentence is really long. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at subgenus mapping. All right, so let's jump on in and we'll take a look at my test. All right, first of all, let's go over here and start with, let's do this passage here. All right, so if you look over here, we're going to start with the pruning. So I'll grab red. All right, here's our topic sentence here. It says, in the 18th and 19th century, there's a comma. That's a dependent clause that could be knocked out. All right. Travelers in North America reported seeing armies of squirrels. All right. That's an independent clause right there. There's a comma here, sometimes numbering in the 1,000. That's a double comma right there, Mr. Chung. That could be knocked out. Making their way across the fields. That's a dependent clause, comma. Forests and rivers. We knock that down. The topic sentence becomes down to, it says, we've got travelers in North America reported seeing squirrels. So we've got travelers seeing squirrels. Easy. All right. Now we go down over here and we start looking at this sentence. It's pretty short. It says gray squirrels and migration. Do you see how the squirrels and traveling, seeing these armies? So it's just saying the same thing, shortened version. Pirate flag here, you see how it's capitalized? We saw it right away. It says, even when the forests at their most extensive and their oaks and hickory see an endless supply, the fall was unpredictable. Here is a dependent clause. Even when the forests were most extensive and oaks, all this can be knocked out. It says, the fall harvest was unpredictable. We knocked that out. And now we see that that's got to do something with migration. So when the fall harvest is unpredictable, what are the squirrels going to do? Leave. They're going to migrate. There's no food there. 3 lines of text went down, and now you see how the topic sentences are really linked together in a nice way. Here, in changes in North American landscape eventually brought an end to the great squirrel migration. Okay, there's a comma there. Although occasionally small exodus in the century, that can be knocked out. When we do that, you see we've got squirrel migration, shorter, and so forth. All right, so that's what we do. Okay, as I'm reading my topic sentence, you see here's one of those pirate flags, and you see how I just kind of put like a little cherry or a D. Like I usually go like that, so it looks like a music note, and it's super fast. All right, as I'm reading my topic sentence, just put that there and worry about that later. Now, whatever they say here, they're going to counteract that. And if I'm looking for some mystery keywords, I already know it's probably going to be in this area here, and I'll just take gold and just draw it around there. My mystery keywords, that's like the area that I would probably be looking first, okay? come back over here and we start reading. Okay, given all the life and death dependence on stored food, its manner of storing many oddly insufficient. Okay, so here, its manner, this is the squirrel, that's crossed out, and storing food is how you don't migrate anymore. See how we're just thinking of the same thing on that? All right. So we come back over here, beginning of the sentence, pirate flag because. I just put a little cherry on that, and then come back over and take a look at that. All right. That's what you're going to do. Keep your eyes peeled for pirate flags as you go through. And if you need to use pruning, what we'll do with the pruning is we'll reduce the sentences. Now, probably not going to prune when you're doing your Genius Map, but when it comes time to answering line reference questions that are really long, and a classic one would be something like this. They'd ask you about line 6 right here, and then you'd go, okay, line 6 and 7. And so you'd look at this and say that this was kind of weird. It's like, you know, chivalry, the habit, blah, blah, forest, whatever. You'd look at your topic sentence and you'd prune your topic sentence down to see we've got armies of squirrels running around. So they're like marching. Do you know what I mean? And they're marching like in order to get out of there, to go to some battle or something. Okay? And that's like migration. So that's what we would do on that. All right, some tools there. Let's go back to our main sheet, and then we're going to go ahead and stop the lesson for kids at home. And kids, if you're watching this in video, we're doing test 65E. So at this point now, what you'd want to do is turn on your multi-timer at home or our mock time trial, the one that's filmed at Harvard in the Kennedy Center. And that's available on our website as well. So just time your test, and then we'll take a look at it from there. All right, kids watching online, thanks for watching. That's the end of this lesson.